effectiveness. Not that any of the other um, formats or modalities are not effective. My specific psychic abilities are stronger when we're co-located. Stronger shot down. Stronger if
I don't know what that text means.
like I'm a very empathic person. I'm very intuitive. I can see things and feel feelings and all the things. But if I touch you, it's going to be even stronger of an ability. So I can do a session with light touch, without touch. We can do it in person. We can do it virtually with technology, like we're on a Zoom call. Or we can just set up a time and say, I want you to give me Reiki at 4:30 p.m. I don't even need to connect with you in technology, and I can do it that way. As long as you're willing to receive the energy, I'm able to send it. And we can talk about the things the cliche things, the stereotypical things. Yes, my wife and I do have encounters with people that have passed. Sometimes willingly, most of the
They
time.
had a roommate for a while. That was the spirit.
Yeah, so
Really?
in the last house we lived in, there was a younger person, like 10 or 11.
He was like around 13. Jared.
We called him Jared, and
I asked him his name.
oh yeah, his name was Jared.
Jared. Okay.
Jared was not a passive ghost. Jared was very active.
He loved to watch Game of Thrones with us. So, like, the way our couch was, like, facing the TV, there was an opening to another part of the house behind us. And he would stand in that doorway and watch Game of Thrones with us.
Or if we were all outside on the patio, he would stand at the patio door looking outside.
Yeah.
When we got married, we left the home for a weekend, and so Jared was there by himself, and I don't think Jared liked that very much. We came back, and the garage doors were open.
They're independently operated, so they're like completely two different remotes.
Yeah.
And he opened both of them.
Weird.
When we were going to move, we were packing up. He was in the kitchen packing up. He scratched him. Like I could see him from where I was in the living room. He was standing in the kitchen packing a box, and all of a sudden I see him kind of jump and say like, "Ow!" And he's like looking at his leg, and there's a scratch mark on his leg.
Jeez.
Jared was not happy they left him there.
Yeah, not bad. The ices. Okay. So those are, I mean, you would say they're like he was not passive and just being there.
Jared was very playful.
Okay. That's
Jared
a good word for it.
Jared would like. There was one night she was out of town in Europe, and I was sleeping at home by myself, and like Jared was hovering above my face, like this close, like, "Can you hear me?"
Oh. So
And
can
it's
you?
like 2 a.m. I'm like, "Yes, I can hear you." Like I'm trying to go to sleep.
So you can see him,
Not
or just
always.
feel him.
Travis is more inclined with spirits that have passed.
Yeah.
I have ability, but less active than hers.
Yeah.
Mine is things happen to me in that space.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, like I'll tell her, yeah, there's somebody here right now.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is or what they want.
Yeah.
But she has more ability to communicate and ask questions and see them.
I tried to take Jared back to the light, and he was not having it. I dropped him off, and I said, "You go in. I can't go from here." And I turned around and came back, and he followed me back home.
Jared, he was communicating right here when you were sleeping. So that's super interesting and also sounds super terrifying. So I mean, without like going too deep into the spookiness of it, like that's, I mean, he obviously probably did not mean anything like harmful by, hey, you can hear me? Like, no, yeah, of course I can. What are you talking to me?
Well, that night it was more about I didn't want to respond because then Jared would think it's time to play. And
Okay.
I was trying. It was 2 a.m. I was trying to sleep.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I didn't say yes. I can hear you. I just let him get bored and
Yeah,
go
yeah,
away.
yeah. So on the other end of the spectrum, the
Unwanted presences.
unwanted, yeah, and almost like harmful presences. I mean, have you all had
Yes.
experiences like that?
I think you can tell when there's negative energy around because of how it feels. Now, sometimes you're not able to distinguish that these aren't your feelings that you're feeling, but you can tell the negative presence because of how it feels. It feels angry, or it feels sad, or it feels hurtful. What I do, I through Reiki and learning that and practicing energy, I create a energy shield where I basically don't allow unwanted presences in our bubble. And I extend that. I start the bubble around myself, and then I extend it around the room I'm in, and I extend it around the whole house, and I extend it around the whole neighborhood. And I basically give our home like a 2 mile perimeter protection bubble, and I do that at least once a month.
Definitely repelled by a place. So there definitely been stores that I tried to walk into and I just couldn't go in for some reason. I think that was a spiritual, either like there was a spirit there or that there was an experience that it was not going to serve me. So I've definitely been repelled by what could be something negative, I think, before. The other thing is, for me, this might sound kind of crude, but I know a lot of dead people. And so I feel really protected on the other side. Just from the people that I love who've passed, I feel protected by them. I feel like they would look out for me. And then I also feel divinely protected as well. So I don't really entertain the dark outside of my own inner shadow. So for me, it's not a lot of interaction.
Okay. Yeah. So I like that. I like that you don't entertain it, and also the bubble to keep, anything negative out. So for anyone who's like feeling like, man, that makes sense. Like I don't feel unhappy, but sometimes it's just like hits me like a wave, like something negative. Like what can someone do in that instance? How do they do what y'all have done for yourself?
To me, it's about a mindfulness practice. So as often as you can be mindful and still in your own mind, so practicing meditation, when you're practicing meditation, it creates space between your soul and your psychological identity. And the more space there is between that, the more you can observe in your environment as you're interacting in the world. And so essentially it gives your body an imprint of very clearly what is you. So the more you practice that, the bigger that space gets and the stronger that imprint of what is you gets. And then when you're out into the world and you get flooded by some energy, if you go and find a space and you sit with that, within a few minutes of meditation, you'll start to feel what parts of this are actually you. You'll either start to get memories or have thoughts, or maybe you'll start to notice the energy dissipating, especially if you start to breathe in and focus on your heart chakra. So your heart chakra is the seat of your soul. He mentioned that as well as like your beingness, your inner child. So if you focus on breathing into your heart chakra, it will amplify all that is you within you, and it will push out the other extra energies. So that's when you might start to notice in your observation things to dissipate. Either the physical sensations from the emotion will start to move through you, or emotionally you'll just start to feel lighter by doing that.
And all of the things she's saying is true. So this is yes and. That's where the things like the multiple whys can start to answer. Why am I feeling that? Well, why then? And then why? And then why? Other practical things you can do. We're water signs, so water always helps us. Drinking water helps, but taking a shower to rinse away whatever negative feelings or emotions you may be feeling. Submerging yourself in water is even better. So I'm in the pool 3 times a day. Meditation, yoga, going for a walk. Anything where you're allowing yourself, like she said, space away from your torment, separating it so you can observe it is what's going to be helpful for you. It's like the premise of when your friends have problems, you have the best advice, right? But if you have the same problem, you don't know what to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's making yourself the observer so that you can look at things practically and make decisions. When things are about you, you have emotional reactions and ego gets involved, and that clouds your judgment. You don't always make the best choices when you're emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to take a second to, process, recenter, and then go forward onto it.
It's hard to not look at your own life and not be an emotional about it.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
the mindfulness practice is giving yourself the space where you can be objective.
Okay. Well, something with our goal of our podcast is to just promote, I don't know, honestly, just good, good in any aspect, in nutritional, workout, spiritual, mental, yeah. So something I ask everyone who's in the gym industry, a specific question, but I'm going to phrase it a little bit more broad now. I mean, if someone is listening right now and they are going through their own struggles or strife, whether it could be something mental, something physical, something spiritual, I mean, what would you want to tell that person to help them?
Yeah, give it a shot. One thing that's cool about being connected with purpose like we are, like I am, is I know what I am and I know what I'm not. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. I'm here to lead you, but I'm not here to convince you. So I'm happy to, give someone a session or 2 or 3. I want to help you be the best version of you can be. I don't think that I have all the answers, but I have a lot of them. And I have a lot of them based on my experience. And I know that my experience is not for everyone, but there might be a tool here or a trick there or a technique here that will be useful to you or that resonates with you. And if I can be helpful in that way, I'm happy to be